All right, cool. So it is the 2nd of July at 5:38, and we are going to call the Westmarch Recruitment Guild meeting to order. I am Jody Begley, one of the Recruitment Guild members. We have a roll call.
Yeah. Amanda Giles. I don't think I technically have a position, but member of the Recruitment Guild is present.
And Julie Hall, member of the Recruitment Guild, is present.
We don't have official positions yet, so anyway, and then the members that are not in attendance are Christine Stender, the Monarch, David Zucker, Westmarch Treasurer, and who else is still in our committee?
Brienne.
And Brienne, correct.
Brienne, yep.
Brienne Middaugh.
We also have Kyle Bates and Johnny, but we may want to discuss in the future trying to, I know they're both pretty busy. I don't think they can commit, so.
They're busy and they've kind of attended kind of peripherally, but they are on the committee and they're not in attendance. So we are going to go ahead and get started. The first item on the agenda is the results of the Facebook ad campaign. Amanda, did you have a presentation?
So the full presentation with PowerPoint slides that I wanted to is not quite ready yet, given the fact I'm still waiting to hear from a couple of PMs regarding the actual new members and waivers that we've had since we ran the campaign. But I can give you a lot of information in general about the campaign that we ran. So we ran a campaign for looks like we ran this one for 2 weeks. Yeah, we ran this one from the 29th of March to the 12th of April. We spent a total of, our budget was $200. And the goal of this campaign wasn't so much this time to get brand new members, but was to increase the awareness. I'm going to apologize in advance. This is the part where I'm going to likely ramble and possibly get confusing. If anybody has any questions, please interrupt me, just so I don't go off on a tangent. When it comes to the theory of advertising, there is a funnel system. Basically, first you make your users aware that you exist, and then you drive them to a goal. We've completed the first phase of that funnel, which is making users aware that we exist as an organization. Our goal was to establish a baseline of what it was going to cost to make sure that people were aware that we exist. So our campaign was tailored to impressions rather than clicks. So the clicks, I'm just going to say now, are a buy factor. We weren't really we weren't directing people to click. We were mostly making them aware that we exist as an organization, which in my opinion, we did wonderfly. We spent a total of $193. So we didn't even hit our $200 budget. And we reached a total of 61,000 people statewide saw our ads. As of those 61,000 people that saw our ads, they saw our ads a number of 421,000 times. So given the numbers, I'd probably say that most people saw our ad between 2 to 3 times given over our ad campaign, which is great. Of the estimated ad recall lift, which is basically the number of people who will basically, having seen our ad, remember that we exist as a whole, is 6,790 people. So the cost for every person to see our ad was 0.03 cents per ad. The byproduct of that, because we weren't having people click our links, we were just making them aware that we exist. We had but the byproduct of that was people clicking our links. We had our link clicked a total of 420 times. Actually, no, sorry, let me scroll over to make sure I have that number right. 428 times. So people were definitely engaging with us, which is fantastic. I have reached out to, I'm pretty sure all of the PMs at this point to get an accurate user count, or sorry, that's not correct, to get an accurate count of new members that we have acquired since we ran that campaign. I haven't heard from anybody. It's yet, I think I actually, sorry, that's not correct. I've heard from, I think 4 PMs at this point, and it sounds like we have a total of 15 new people who for sure that I've heard of. But given the fact it's hard to get in touch with prime ministers, especially right now, given the holiday, I actually came up with a way for us to get those numbers accurately without having to talk to prime ministers. I've spoken to Sir Kismet, Kevin Walker, who will hopefully be working on a report for us because the org doesn't provide this function, that as long as the prime ministers are accurately putting in their data, this report will pull, allow us to see the first attendance of every user between X date and X date. So
Nice.
even if I don't hear from the prime ministers by next meeting, I should be able to pull this report and definitively say, right after we ran that campaign, between this date and this date, we've acquired, like, I'm just going to make this number up for the ease of sake, but like, 16 or 17 new sign-ins, basically first time unique sign-ins. So I don't have the total numbers in regarding of how many new players we got this specific ad campaign, but in general, that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to make people aware of us as an organization.
Right.
Our conversation going forward and further down the agenda is what phase 2 would look like. And phase 2 would actually be targeting these people, the same people that we targeted in these first 2 campaigns, but getting them to actually do something, a call to action. So, the next campaign will be like, okay, actually click this link and go to the org, or click this link and learn at the event. That's further, like I said, down our agenda. And we'll definitely have to circle about that. But in general, 61,000 people between those 2 campaigns is pretty impressive.
Now, was there a
yeah,
difference, can you
it's a
tell,
lot.
between Southern and Northern California? Because we had a discussion about, SoCal was
Right.
population denser and kind of more.
Right. So I am
involved.
going to say right now, for our next campaign, I think we can get a little bit more granular. We kind of just targeted a very large, like, swath of area, the entire state. So, and perhaps I should take a step back. Like I said, this is where I'm going to be rambling. I apologize.
That's good.
So, there are essentially 3 terms to kind of keep in mind. And this is actually like imagine a tree hierarchy system. So first you have your campaign, and then that's kind of like what you're trying to do. And then under your campaign, you have what's called an ad set. And that's basically where you're breaking down your geographical areas. And then under the ad set, you have ads. So we ran 2 ad sets targeting 2 different geographical areas based on the request of the king from the last meeting. He wanted us to do all of the state of California for 1 ad set, for basically 1 group of ads targets the entire state of California. And the second group of ads targets just Thor's Refuge, Agers Hall, and Misty Vale. He at the time requested just the Sacramento area for that second ad set. I can tell you right now that the Thor's Refuge, Agers Hall, and Misty Vale approach, targeting a direct area rather than the whole state of California, was more successful by about a factor of 4. So in terms of the ad that ran for the entire state of California, we had about 25,000 people basically see the ad. However, just targeting alone Thor's Refuge, Agers Hall, and Misty Vale, we had a reach of 36 6,000 people, which to me indicates in our next campaign, instead of doing the entire state of California, we need to break it down into specific geographical areas, because that was much more successful than just targeting the entire state. I wish my PowerPoint presentation was just a little bit more ready to go, but I'm going to include a screenshot into the Zoom chat.
I was gonna say you could share the screen for that one thing that you want to show.
Oh,
or
actually, if it will let me, yeah, let me do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I'm also keeping a track of our live stream chat on Facebook to make sure nobody's asking questions, and if they are, I can make sure we're not ignoring whoever is watching currently. Let me see if it will let me screen share though. Screen share. Okay. Oh wait, no, it's disabled.
Nope,
Jody, can you enable
I
screen
just
sharing
did.
for me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You should
I'll
be
try one more
you
time.
should be the host now.
Yes, it just said so.
Okay, I think this is my screen.
There you go.
Okay, cool. So these are the reports that I've created. Guessing, just taking a wild guess on what we wanted to know. If there's anything outside of this that people are interested in, I can probably extend these reports. So just let me know. But yeah, this is the results of our current ad campaign. So we basically spent $7 a day for from the 29th of March to the 12th of April, and basically spending $96 for each campaign. Actually, yeah, that evened out really well. And
Where did the money come from?
that was the king granting $200 out of his budget in order for us to run this experiment.
Okay.
So one of the topics that is coming up in the future is how we want to fund this, but that might be, we might want to table that till we have the rest of the crew. Yeah, in general, this is the result of a campaign. I would say it's in terms of establishing a baseline and seeing how much it's going to cost us per impression and how many impressions we can get for the funding that we had available. I would say it's pretty successful. If anyone has any questions or wants me to run a different report, let me know. I can at this time. But I think that's essentially what I have for as terms of how did we do. I think we did pretty well.
I think that sounds really good. I think, it shows promise, it shows a positive effect. And I think going forward, the next topic is going to be not only the funding like you talked about, but going forward, how do we do phase 2 and how would we maybe break up the different geographical areas?
Right.
And how would we set that up? And I don't know, that's something that we can do tonight with just the 3 of us, but
yeah, David had some really good input.
I think the Monarch and the PM and Brienne would be useful.
Mhm.
But in general, yeah, so in terms of phase 2, since we've made people, if you're following the funnel theory, so to speak, we've made people aware of us. So the next phase is going to be some sort of call to action, whether it's not we decide to have start advertising a specific event we want people to show up, or whether or not we want to start making people click on specific groups to try to get attendance in person up. We'll have to set that goal further down the line. But in terms of establishing our goal as setting a baseline and getting impressions, yeah, we're good.
Great. I appreciate all your work and your statistics and the numbers. It really, I think that it looks good. So I'm going to vote. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and I can switch between some of these tabs that I'm screen sharing. So, I mean, like right now I was looking at the ad sets. So this screen here is showing the 2 geographical areas that we broke it down into. Overall, if I go to this campaign tab, this shows you the full campaign tab. And then if we wanted to see, let me switch over to the actual ads for campaign. In terms of the 2 specific ads that we ran, you can see that let me see if it lets me actually view this chart. This is the ad that we had the higher performance, and there's some really interesting statistics in here.
Oh, yeah.
We had much men between the age of 25 and 34. We had basically our whole cost per click was like, most of it was men. 75% of it went to folks identifying as men, where 24% of it went to women. But that said, that could 100% be due to the content of the ads, because our pictures that we used for the ads were not like, were more battle focused. You know, we haven't really talked about breaking things down into getting crafters involved or bards involved or, you know, role players involved. This was more just like, let's show them a picture of people beating the crap out of each other and see who responds.
What's the picture down at the bottom?
This is one of,
Yeah.
I don't know the gentleman on the left, but this is one that Brienne designed, and he did a great job. It was a great action shot. So that's something we can talk about in the next meeting in terms of how we want to, who we want to target. You know, right now this was targeting fighters, but the next ad set, you know, we can branch out and target crafters or target people who are interested in role playing. There's a lot of options, but it's just kind of fascinating to. Exactly. But it's just kind of fascinating.
And other groups.
But yeah,
okay,
no,
so
it's cool.
Yeah. And the California statewide ad, I mean, it did okay, but we probably could do better by doing some micro targeting. In terms of user interaction and sharing, we got a number of shares. This particular ad had 2 people sharing it. Which wasn't really a goal, but it's just kind of a nice side effect. And then this other ad, actually, it looks like we used the same picture for, oh no, we didn't.
No, it's 2 different. It's different.
Yeah. And this one, surprisingly, though it performed better, didn't get nearly as much comment, engagement, or shares, which I actually find fascinating. I'll have to.
I think Brienne needed to have been in garb, and then that would have like definitely set the stage.
Possibly.
I did like the idea of those showing regular people being able to come in, and you don't have to be all fancy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is once we start like actually really getting into, I mean, because all of these from the last meeting, we consider them experiments, right? So we can really get some really interesting things. Like if we run a picture that has only people in plain clothes versus people in garb, which one does better? You know, we can do, that's called an A/B test. So we can get some really awesome data on how to like target our audience.
Well, and the other thing too would be, and this may be a little bit controversial because it has been in the past, but you know, what about like families?
Right.
You know, there's like kids and minors and those kinds of things. If we're going to include different groups as an experiment for phase 2.
Right.
Yep.
You know, we should be open-minded and kind of span a lot of different types of groups.
That sounds good. And even the words that we say, I mean, this one says medieval combat sport, and the other one said foam. So, you know, that might, there's different ways of talking about it and things like that we can look into.
Exactly. And that's what I'm really excited to get the rest of the group together for the next meeting, because I know David had some really fantastic ideas that I would love for him to elaborate on for us. But in general, it worked great. I wish I had heard back from all of the prime ministers, but like I said, I'm working on getting that report created from Ken. So regardless if we hear from anybody, we should be able to tell who's new and who's not just from that alone. But
awesome. Well, what a great report. I think that you know, kind of from where we started, that's really, it was our goal. You know, it was our goal to do this and to get some baseline information and to see if it's going to work at all, and then analyze it and see how we can use it to promote Amped Guard and Westmarch and foam fighting for all of our lands.
Right.
Exactly.
So awesome. So I'm going to make a motion that to table this until our next meeting.
Right. And I should have some more, hopefully more data to present next time. Either that report will be finished or not, which is good, because I really think the Queen should be in on this as well. And hopefully she'll be able to attend the next meeting.
Yes. Okay, so we will table the results of the ad campaign. And then I think included in that is going to be discussion on what does the next phase of advertising experiments look like overall. I think that's probably going to
Yep.
roll into
Agreed.
that.
Agreed.
And
Yep.
then is it time to branch out to other social media platforms? I mean, I don't know about that. We either focus on Facebook, or we focus on Facebook and then maybe take on one other social media platform. I think our concern with this topic has been, if we do too many things, we're not going to be able to get the results as if we focus on one or two
Yeah.
things.
We spread too thin.
Yeah, spread too
Yeah.
thin.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think there's any harm in focusing on one platform, at least for one more experiment, maybe two more experiments. And then, you know, once we have a really good idea of how things are going, I know we're going to have to expand the guild in general. So we might be able to bring in some guild members who want to focus on certain platforms specifically.
Mm.
And so we're, one of the things I'm going to get to is the workload, but just so like one person's not doing it, like we have somebody who's in charge of a TikTok campaign, somebody who's in charge of an Instagram campaign.
Mhm.
You know, we can micromanage a little bit, not micromanage, but we can delegate, I guess. is the
Delegate.
right word.
Spread out
Yeah,
the
but
fun.
at this spread out the fun. But you're right. At this point, I think that's a little bit premature.
So let's table that for this meeting.
Mhm.
And then the working on paper advertising and flyers. I think that's kind of a whole nother branch. That was one of my ideas after DungeonCon.
Mhm.
And I think
Which
as
is still
far,
a good idea.
yeah, but I think with just the three of us, that's more than we really need to take on tonight. So I would vote on
Agreed.
tabling that.
Agreed.
Yep, I'm okay with tabling it.
Okay. And then the long-term strategy kind of rolls into all of those things we just talked about. So I think the long-term strategy in my viewpoint would be like phase 2 of the funnel for Facebook. And then maybe incorporating one, maybe two other social media platforms and
Mhm.
paper advertising and things going forward, just kind of expanding and delegating into more areas.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right.
Good.
Just taking notes.
Nope, that's just fine.
And then I think long-term funding, I'm not sure that we can take any action on that tonight.
Yeah,
We've gotten,
that's something
yeah.
I'd love the Queen to be on.
well,
Exactly.
and the Prime Minister, and then the other thing too is, you know, as of August, we're gonna have a new Prime Minister, so there'll be a transition there.
Yep.
And
Sure,
so
sure.
that'll definitely be something that we would need the monarch for, so we'll table that one for tonight.
Right.
The tutorial for which ad set works best. Amanda, what is that?
So we had talked about in the last meeting creating a tutorial for lands to follow should they want to do their own advertising campaign instead of being bundled into ours. And what we were going to do is we were going to create a tutorial based on whatever ad campaign goal we wanted to achieve. Like this campaign was impressions, but if we find out a campaign going for clicks is better, we would write a tutorial on how each land can set up a click campaign. It's probably premature for this one as well until I hear back from the rest of the prime ministers or Ken Walker finishes that specific report for me, which I don't have a date on, so I'm just going to say that right now. But I would actually say we should probably table that one until we have a little bit more information, if not the rest of the guild in attendance.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
And yeah, and when we're talking about tutorials, basically we're talking about either, you know, something that they can follow to
A document.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
Document or even in a
Yep.
PowerPoint, you know, just something they can watch.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any update on the Come Try LARP status?
Sort of. Let me pull up I was talking to I bugged Dyer about that earlier, and let me see what let me quote him. So the Come Try LARP page is definitely still in development. He was going to try to talk with his developer tonight because we are, let me take a step back, I'm sorry. We had 2 issues with the Come Try LARP page. One of them was we were trying to get all of the lands involved or into Come Try LARP in general, which we have, I think, about 95%. I honestly think me putting in Nearmer Sanctum is probably the last one, which I actually need to have a discussion with Julie about because we're trying to figure out the status of Nearmer Sanctum before we start advertising Nearmer Sanctum.
Agreed.
That's a whole other issue. They're still trying to fix the bug for the Belgarth groups showing up in the AmpGuard listing. He was going to talk to his developer tonight about that. In general, though, after a brief conversation that I had with him, we'll hopefully be able to talk tomorrow in depth. He is recommending that we don't point our future ad campaign or any of that nature to Come Try LARP, despite getting everybody in there. They actually recommend using Come Try LARP as more of a last resort, which wasn't the initial impression that I was getting. But essentially, they're basically saying, they basically recommend that we push our ads somewhere else other than them and only give the Come Try LARP listing out if there aren't groups in the area for the users. Basically, they want to be I'm sorry, there's not a group next to us. Go to Come Try LARP to find the next group that's closest
Why is
to you.
that? That kind of seems backwards to me.
Yeah.
I will admit I was a little confused when I had that conversation this afternoon, which is why I'm hoping I can get a little bit more information. I think the objective of the site and I have changed since we started this. That said, I'm not entirely concerned about that because we have a number of resources we can use. Come Try LARP is definitely a good resource. I 100% want people to put their lands into Come Try LARP because if they can't find a Belgarth group, they're going to go to Come Try LARP and they'll find the closest AmpGuard group. It's still a 100% valuable resource. It just might not be where we want to direct our ads to. We might want to, them to play.ampguard.com, which pulls information directly from the org and shows only AmpGuard groups and not every other LARP. But that's also something that we should probably discuss with the group as a whole, because it does work. It's just there are a couple of bugs in there that I'm not sure are 100% going to fit our goals. But like I said, I'm hoping I can talk and have a phone call with Dyer tomorrow, which will give a little clarity into the mission statement as a whole of that site. And I think we can hopefully go from there. But
so basically put our lands in Westmarch and put everything on there, but just make sure it's updated and current, but not a big focus of our advertising.
Of our push. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So
yes, in terms of pushing ads, I figure we'll discuss that next meeting, but the play.ampguard.com is a really good alternative. I really wish we could still point people directly to Facebook groups. Facebook seems to have taken that functionality away. Because we ran it. Well, we ran into that when we ran the ads, because originally we were going to point people directly to like Facebook groups.
Exactly.
But you can't link to Facebook groups in ads anymore. You can only not Facebook. Yeah, you can't do Facebook groups / communities. You can do Facebook pages. And this is where there's a page and a community. So most of our communication for Westmarch takes place on the community side, and we have a Westmarch Facebook page in addition to that.
Interesting.
Right. So we can so we'll have to discuss strategy on that for the next meeting. We have a ton of options, so I'm not entirely concerned. But in terms of Come Try LARP and what we have currently going, the admin is still hoping to get that bug fixed. they're going to be making a couple of major changes, and overall, I hope to have more information at the next meeting.
Okay, so next meeting, how about we'll table this until the next meeting?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. And then the next item is moving the chat over to Discord for transparency.
Hmm.
I want to say Garfelius
Yep.
is the person in charge of adding groups and managing the Westmarch Discord. Is that correct now?
Yeah, that's my understanding. And from my understanding, we all kind of agreed to do it, just looking at the chat history, but we've never made the official motion. So if we're going to do that, yeah, we could just talk to Garfelius, and they should be able to get us all set up. Just a matter of voting to officially do it and then asking them to do
Cool. And then that would be a underneath Kingdom of Westmarch in one of the just a channel in there for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would be like
and
the
wha-
BOD channel.
Yes, right. Like in the feast
Which I'm a
hall. Yeah.
huge, yeah, exactly. And I'm a huge fan of, because even if people aren't attending our meetings in general, they can look over our chat history and see what the topics of discussion are. And
Yeah.
I think it's a
And
great idea.
Yep, and we can also post like the YouTube link. You know, if
Right.
I upload this to YouTube, we can do the YouTube link like I do for the BOD meetings into the
Yep,
general chat.
exactly.
Okay, so I will reach out to Garfelius
Perfect.
and see about getting that set up.
I also think that will help in terms of getting in touch with like Brian and stuff, because I think Brian uses Discord more than
Okay, all right, that sounds
Mhm.
great.
Messenger.
The mission statement creation was the next item. Honestly, I have put zero effort into this. And so that's kind of one reason that I wanted to get the meeting kind of up and running so that I would get it back on my radar and thinking about kind of what our mission is. So I think at this point, just ask that we all continue to think about what our mission statement would be, and table this until the next meeting, and then
Oh,
we can
okay.
discuss it when more of our members are here.
Okay. I was going to say if you wanted to do any preliminary discussion, but then, yeah, I think, yeah, we'll move it.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
I mean,
What ideas do you have?
basically we want to raise awareness of AmpGuard and its and how it works and how people can benefit. That's what I was,
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the goal, 100%.
Well, and it's also to raise, recruit new members. I mean, it's a recruitment guild, so
we
kind of
make
one
sure
of the
we have
whole
that right.
points was
Make
to
people
recruit, yeah,
aware of AmpGuard, recruit new members for our kingdom.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely, I think, yeah, molding it over a little bit more, but now that it's at the front
True,
of
but I wanted
our
to get
to-do list.
something to start.
No, that's
No,
good.
I think
Thank you.
I think that's great, actually, Julie. I mean, I don't want to like tap you against your will, but if you want to take a stab at writing a really loose, and I mean loose, rough draft, super rough of a mission statement that we can like workshop at the next meeting.
Okay, I'll
And even like
your workload,
keywords like raise awareness, recruit, just kind of like simple ideas,
terminology.
terminology. Yeah.
And that's if your current workload works for that. Don't like just go for it because I said, hey Julie, want to do this? Make sure you have the time and the brain power and the spoons, more importantly.
Yes, no, thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, no, this is something definitely where I get spoons from this. So thank you.
Okay. Cool.
All right, great. So Julie, you're going to work on kind of, I want to say like a rough draft, but just some ideas and statements that we can talk about next time.
Correct.
Awesome. Sweet. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, I super appreciate it. Like my schedule in general for the next 4 weeks is going to be a bit tight. So I really appreciate you taking this this item off the workload. Cool.
And then the next
So,
item is to finalize the name. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, are we done with the mission statement topic? We want to table it to the next meeting
Yep,
and move
yep.
on?
Yep.
Sounds like yes.
Yes.
So then the next is, excuse me, finalize the name change to Recruitment Guild.
Yeah, I threw that on there at the end because we all agreed in chat, but we haven't had the official motion. So I figured I would just make it the official motion. Like, are we changing the name to Recruitment Guild? I say aye.
I say aye. I really liked that
Okay.
a lot. I thought that was great. So we are now the
Yeah, Brian
Westmarch
made a great suggestion.
Recruitment Guild, and this item is closed. Wow, we
Woohoo!
closed one item. Woo!
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
so
any progress is progress.
so I don't have anything else on the agenda that you posted, Amanda. Does anybody else have anything?
I threw one thing onto the document that honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, we're probably gonna want to table it until next meeting. But we probably want to do a call out to see if we can get any new members into the guild, given we have 2 members who aren't able to attend on a generally regular basis. It might be useful or helpful to get some more folks who might be a little bit more platform specific. So when we do decide to branch out in the future, we have some knowledge to draw from.
So we need to recruit for the Recruitment Guild.
We might want to consider and then decide next time whether or not we want to recruit for the Recruitment Guild.
No, but I do like the idea of people who are cognizant of other platforms if we decide to go that way. And that's kind of what we're talking about.
And
Yeah.
also just from a workload like standpoint, like I was scrolling up and looking at the workload. Amanda's to-do list was pretty large this month, and unfortunately, because it was so large, there was a number of items that I couldn't get to. And honestly, being able to just put off a couple of those items to somebody else and have them pick up and run with it would be super helpful. That said, that is only because my schedule was a bit tight the last couple of weeks. With it opening up, that might not be an issue, but in general, I'd love to see if we can distribute the workload a little bit more evenly.
I think, Amanda, you've done an immense amount of work. And I really appreciate all of this because it's way above my level of knowledge. So I was looking through
full transparency's sake, we were supposed to make a post to announce the start of this experiment. I 100% dropped the ball on that. That's just because my schedule got too crazy. So in terms of like future workload, if I could get somebody, like I'll 100% take the meeting minutes and do the meeting notes and all of that. But in terms of official announcements, I'd love to have a herald who could write those for me, because some of those posts I just don't have
herald.
and that's what happens in this.
Let me work on that. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, and I was looking through, I believe it was like the BOD in the corpora, and it was, if somebody misses 3 or 4 meetings in a row. And so let me check in with the other committee members and talk to them directly about continuing, and then we can chat if we move it over to Discord about recruiting new members for the guild. I have 1 or 2 that I can ask, so let me reach out to them and see. Is
there any way we could change the day time, or maybe have a couple that we go back and forth, something like that is something to think about.
Right. I know Saturdays don't work for you.
Yeah.
We could always, what if we tried to do the Sunday after whenever we scheduled the BOD meeting? Sunday
that's going to be setting the date for the next meeting. It's like, do we want to meet every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Right.
Dates, I think, we all kind of have different work schedules. I'm pretty much available really late on weeknights, except for Thursdays, and then weekends between, holidays and Amtgard and that. What would you want to do as far as the meeting frequency? Do you want to try to meet every other week? That's kind of a lot. Every
I-
3 weeks, once a month. Does that give us enough impetus?
At the moment, I would say something along the lines of every 3 weeks is
Yeah.
probably good. So the issue is we're gonna encounter a couple of periods where we have some downtime unless we start picking up other projects like other platforms. But at the moment, we're just dealing with Facebook. So like we run a campaign and that campaign runs for 3 weeks. There's really no reason for us to meet until the campaign ends. So there might be a little bit of variable in those dates for at this point in time. So I would say like every 3 weeks, because a month seems
Too
a
long.
little too long.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the moment, 3 weeks seems maybe about the right frequency until we get our phase 2 down, and then we have a better idea of what our timeline is going to be.
Yeah. And when you say you're late at night, you are available, are you talking like after 6 kind of thing?
Well, I work till 6.
Ah, yes.
I sometimes don't leave till 7. I have to come home and land and feed the cats, and then it's
Gotcha, gotcha.
7:30 and 8, and I don't always have the bandwidth to be able to meet for an hour and a half
Yeah,
or 2 hours.
understood, understood.
But I'm looking at
mhm.
the weekends around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. The next BOD meeting is the 17th, Sunday at 2 p.m.
Oh,
What if we
Amanda,
did-
would that be too soon for you with your end of July crunch coming up?
No, that should be fine. So I can definitely make the meetings. It's just my time to actually get stuff accomplished between the meetings is really limited. Our Portrait Works, our app, is hopefully going out of beta this month. It was supposed to go out of beta last month, but hopefully it's going out of beta this month. And once that's done, I'm good. But in general, that should be fine. I think so.
so are we talking, Sundays at like 5 or something like that?
Sunday, the 24th, I can't meet. I've got a webinar I'm doing.
Okay.
The
Do we
23rd,
wanna-
I can meet.
What about the 31st? That gives all the people who are not in attendance enough time to hopefully clear their schedule.
Yep, if I can get back by in time from Wyvern Spur, I can be here because that's Wyvern Spur Conclave.
Okay.
But that's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll be driving back from that too.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Well, 31st, I can't. But that's fine. That's
I
fine.
think this next meeting is going to be pretty quiet. It's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of discussion, but there's not going to be a whole lot of action topics. So, I
Gotcha.
mean, if anything, in terms of for the next meeting, I think you're probably okay because we're not going to be,
Yeah, because I mean,
um,
I can do it. I can do it on yeah, you said you can't do it the 24th or the 17th. Yeah, the 31st, I'm on a flight.
And the Queen will be back on the 16th. So
Okay.
so the 23rd, Saturday, 22nd, Friday in the evening.
Oh,
does the Friday work for you, Julie?
yes, yes.
Okay. What about the 29th? That gives us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
I
Friday?
could-
the
Either one of
29th?
those
Does
work
that
for me,
you,
but it's
Jane?
going to have to be later because it's a work day. But that's fine.
I'm okay with that. That's fine with me.
Yeah, Friday the 29th works. I only the first Friday of every month, I'm not available, but other than that, that should be fine. So do we have what time?
How about, can we do 7:30? Is that too late?
Not too
No.
late for me.
Nope, I can
Okay.
do that.
And I will say now, there's a chance once we talk to Brienne and David and the rest of them, we might have to
Right.
change this date. But for now, that's totally fine for me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I will work on with Garfelius on getting us a page on Discord,
Mhm.
Sweet.
and then we can move our chat over there. I will stop or upload the recording and put that on our new Discord page.
Cool, cool.
And our next meeting then tentatively set at 7:30 p.m. Friday, July 29th.
Yes.
And we'll use
Cool,
the same
cool.
Zoom format and then upload it to Discord.
Beauty, beauty.
And our
I
agenda is going to be like 98% identical of what we did tonight, minus like 2 items.
Minus
So don't be
the
surprised
name
when
change.
correct.
minus the name change.
Right.
Hey.
And
So yeah, and the result. And I'm probably going to go over the results of the ad campaign again, so I might as
Yes.
well just leave that on the agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Sounds
I
good.
will have some ideas about the mission statement.
Awesome. That's exciting.
Super exciting.
Okay, ladies. I think that's it.
I think that's
Amanda,
it.
you were the host, so you can now,
Oh, I can host?
Close it.
Okay, I can end it now.
yeah, you can
All
close the
right.
meeting and then it should upload on my computer and I'll take care of the rest.
Okay, sounds good. Well, as of 6:23 on 7/2/2022, we are ending the Recruitment Guild meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting the ball rolling again.
Definitely. I'm glad you pushed for that. Thank you for
Yes.
poking us.
Yeah, we needed to get going again, so thanks.
Yes.
Have
All
a
right.
good 4th of July, okay?
You too. Everyone be
Will do.
Stay
safe.
safe.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.